Hello and welcome to Friday Night Fright presents Comic Book Cavalcade 2020. Man, we're going to have some fun this month. Every episode in May, every day in May, there's going to be a brand new episode. It's going to be a mini review of a comic book movie. Yay, can't wait, hyped. So it's going to cover the gauntlet. It's going to be loads of MCU stuff. There's going to be some DC stuff probably. Might be some other stuff. There's going to be Flash recaps of Flash Season 2 every Tuesday. So it's going to be 4 or 5 of those, depending on how many Tuesdays are in May. But it's going to be tight, because I've also got a week off. Yay! Anyway, this is the intro Comic Book Cavalcade. So you hear this every day of the week, and then you'll hear an intro for the movie I'm covering that day, or TV show. Ooh, scary! Anyway, I'll be back after a brief word from our sponsor. So at last, we've reached Avengers Endgame, which is the end part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe part of Comic Book Cavalcade 2020. Oh, thank Christ. So Avengers Endgame. I saw this in the cinema. That's the first time I saw it. And my mind was blown by how crazy it seemed and how implausible of stuff I'd seen before me seemed, because it was weird. Like, always can call a movie where, like, bringing Bruce Banner and Hulk merge, and you've got Mark Ruffalo say some Green Rage monster, and he's doing Mark Ruffaloisms. I mean, what else do you say about that, other than what is going on? But it was an incredible experience. I really, really loved it in time, and I've watched it a fair few times since, and each time I thought, wow, what a beast of a movie, just for getting all those components combined. Like, that's the thing that gets me, really. That this movie shouldn't exist, and if it does exist, it shouldn't be this coherently put together. And if it's this coherently put together, it should be boring, but it's not. It's a real trip. That's the best way to describe it. It's a trip. It's like a drug trip. Not that I've ever done drugs, but, you know, one can approximate from certain experiences. I should probably stop talking. Yeah, Avengers Endgame. Loved it at the time, and can't wait to catch up on it. And I'll be doing that in just a few seconds after a brief word with my sponsor. So Avengers Endgame does the near impossible and has even more characters than Infinity War on the same screen at the same time, leading to a blistering final battle scene, which is up there with, in my opinion, Lord of the Rings 2 Towers for epicness. Not Lord of the Rings Return of the King, because I don't think that's a particularly good movie, but this movie really has a scale that's beyond most movies I've ever seen, to be honest. It's a movie which deals with loss and change, and actually has the conjunction, quote, paraphrase Tony Stark, to commit to changes. If you remember, the last movie ended with the snap, where half of all life everywhere died. And then we got 5 years, and then after they deal with Thanos in present, we got 5 years into the future, and it's stuck, which is quite crazy. Everyone thought they'd find a way to undo everything that happened, and they do sort of find a way to undo certain things, but at the same time, they don't undo what's happened in the last 5 years. So that's quite crazy. Avengers Endgame is a fantastic movie. It's really, really good, and it's really, really fun. But I do have one criticism, which I will get to shortly, and which ties in the fact that the movie is essentially constructed in 3 acts. Act 1, dealing with Thanos and dealing with the aftermath of it. Act 2, trying to bring everyone back. And Act 3, trying to stop past Thanos, which is quite an interesting idea, and combines my theory that Thanos is, not even theory, but combines the characterization in Thanos in Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014 with the contrast it with the behaviour of Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, which is always a bit different, because in Infinity War he's got a purpose, he's more calm, he's more philosophical, and in Guardians of the Galaxy he's threatening bathe the starways with Ronan's blood, and he's killing everyone he can instead of killing half a planet. But essentially it boils down to dealing with the aftermath and the Guild of Heroes. This movie gives the original 6 Avengers a lot more screen time, particularly Hawkeye, and lets us go on a sort of nostalgic reunion tour with them of sorts, as Act 2, as I said, is trying to bring F1 back in process by going to alternate paths to steal Infinity Stones and then bring them back to our timeline and use them and Infinity Gauntlet, Tony's mate, to bring everyone who was turned dust back. Quite a crazy concept. Here's wherein the problem I have with movie lies. Act 2 is by far the best part of the movie and could have been an entire movie on its own. The idea that we have to have another big battle scene Thanos seems a bit over the top, because it's not even the same Thanos. It's a bloodthirsty alternate version from 2014. The events up to the point where we meet him have all happened, but everything after that hasn't happened. So there's no real satisfaction when they beat him. And also it's weird because he's stronger in 2014 than he is in Infinity War when he has most of the Infinity Stones. On plus side, the last battle is visually very interesting and it's crazy and it's a lot taking and there's a lot of awesome things in there. It just feels like Act 2 was the best part of the movie and it might have been nice to have more time to have that breathe. After all, while it is a greatest hits tour of Marvel Cinematic Universe, taking in reworkings of events from Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers 4 and 4-2, it's not quite given the weight that it could have had. I'm sure they did as much as they possibly could. It's obviously a nightmare to conceive and direct and acting in terms of structure, and they did a great job with it. It falls into a very neat 3-act structure, and the scenes in the past are the highlight of the movie. What else can I say? The last act has some more cameos for the sake of cameos, I guess. It's really cool and it's really awesome. But once Captain America has said Avengers Assemble, it's not quite as good as it was prior to that point. I mean, it doesn't, despite the fact that Final Battle's far bigger in scope, it's not quite as good as Infinity War's battle was. Where Infinity War's final battle with Thor's entrance was mind-blowing because it felt like movie that beats that, whereas this doesn't really feel like movies beat to it necessarily. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still very watchable, but not quite up to standards. And at the same time, while it is a finale to certain aspects of Marvel Cinematic Universe and the phase format, it ends with a bit of a whimper, I guess, because you finally get Guardians of the Galaxy back on Earth, you get Captain Marvel back on Earth after 20 or so years, and that's it. Maybe their solo movies will pick up on that aspect of it. I was particularly disappointed that Nick Fury and Captain Marvel didn't get a reunion, considering how instrumental she was in forming the Avengers. There's just little bits where you hope that they shot more footage than they actually shot while everyone was there, and maybe we'll see some bit at a later point. But I don't know, I could have used a few more minutes of certain people interacting. But at the same time, it's got some great acting, it's got a really good ending and fight stretch. And Chris Evans and Rob Downey Jr. get the send-offs both their characters deserve. Some really powerful scenes there. And it all ends as happily as it could end, while they're still keeping the theme going of ongoing material for the movies. By which I mean the franchise hasn't ended. This is just one volume that's ended. And there's lots of interesting ways that the characters can go from here. The idea of Thor teaming up with Guardians of the Galaxy is fantastic. Valkyrie as Queen of Asgard is brilliant. And where the Hulk goes from here is really interesting too. So yeah, I'd say definitely, as an all-round experience, it's 5 out of 5. Really, really entertaining. Really, really well made. And just an epic of epic proportions. And that ends the Marvel movie run for Comic Book Calvacadia. I will be doing a few of I'm not sure what I'll be doing the rest of the time. I'll figure it out. But thank you for staying with me through Marvel stuff. And hopefully the last few batch of episodes for Comic Book Calvacadia are cool. I know Flash is going to be on Tuesday. And then I'll just go from there, I guess. So thanks for listening. And as always, remember, life is beautiful.